About 1/3 of the sperm whale's body length is its nose. So it is the largest nose in the animal kingdom.
Sperm whales are one of the largest predators to ever live on this planet. Bigger than any land animal alive today. They are capable of diving deeper than most submarines, holding their breath for over an hour, and producing the loudest sound by any living organism while having no vocal cords whatsoever. But even that isn't the crazy part. They have entire clan systems with their own dialects, their own cultural traditions, and their own rules about who they're allowed to speak to. Scientists are only now realizing that what we've been calling animal behavior might actually be something closer to civilization. This is the complete story of one of the largest and most fascinating organism on our planet. Let's get into it. The giant head. The first thing you notice about a sperm whale is the head. It is enormous, rectangular, and completely disproportionate to the rest of the body. On a mature male, it is almost 18 meters long, and nearly a third of that length is just the forehead. For centuries, nobody understood why it existed. Inside that massive head sits one of the strangest biological structures ever evolved, a gigantic chamber called the spermaceti organ. It can hold nearly 1,900 liters of waxy, oil-like material. When whalers, the people who hunt whales, first discovered it in the 18th century, they genuinely believed it was semen. That misunderstanding is literally how the sperm whale got its name. But what the organ actually does has been one of marine biology's biggest mysteries. Scientists now believe the structure serves multiple functions simultaneously. The whale produces sound inside its nasal passages, and those sound waves travel through the spermaceti organ before exiting the front of the head as an incredibly focused beam. The wax inside the organ changes density depending on temperature, allowing the whale to manipulate how sound moves through the organ. Beneath it sits another structure called the junk, a layered system of fatty partitions that helps guide and focus the sound even further. Together, the entire forehead acts like a living acoustic center engineered by evolution itself. Some researchers also believe the organ helps with buoyancy during deep dives. Warm wax is lighter. Cooler wax becomes denser. By regulating temperature inside the organ, the whale may be able to alter how its body behaves under crushing pressure, thousands of meters below the ocean surface. But despite decades of study, scientists still cannot fully explain the structure. It is simply too large, too specialized, and too unlike anything else in nature. Evolution completely reshaped the whale's skull around this one organ, meaning whatever purpose it serves was important enough to transform the entire animal. And what that organ produces is almost impossible to comprehend. Loudest organism on Earth. A sperm whale click can reach up to 236 decibels underwater, making it the loudest sound produced by any animal on Earth. For comparison, a jet engine at close range reaches roughly 140 decibels in air. A gunshot beside your head sits around 160. The sperm whale exceeds both by an almost absurd margin. And it does this without vocal cords. The sound is generated entirely through air being forced through structures called phonic lips inside the nasal passages. The click ricochets through air sacs, travels through the spermaceti organ, and reflects backward through the skull. Finally, it exits the whale's forehead as a concentrated pulse powerful enough to travel enormous distances through the ocean. At long range, those clicks function as echolocation. The sound travels outward, strikes objects in darkness, and returns. From the returning echo alone, the whale can distinguish between fish and squid more than a kilometer away in water so deep that the sunlight never reaches it. But the clicks are not only for hunting, they are also a language. Sperm whales communicate through rhythmic click patterns known as codas. Structured sequences researchers now believe function similarly to a phonetic system. Organizations like Project CETI are currently using machine learning in an attempt to decode whether sperm whales possess something approaching a true language. And the deeper scientists look, the stranger it becomes. During the Cold War, U.S. Navy sonar operators, listening through submarine hulls, kept hearing repetitive knocking sounds echoing through the deep ocean. They called them carpenter fish. At the time, they had no idea what was making the sound. They just knew something enormous was talking. And to understand why they are talking, you have to look at where they are going. Because the sperm whale doesn't just hunt in the ocean, it conquers the parts of it we are terrified of. The deepest diver. The sperm whale dives to 2,250 meters regularly, as a normal part of its daily routine. At 2,000 meters, the water pressure is approximately 200 times the pressure at the surface. That is the equivalent of 100 kilograms pressing down on every single square centimeter of your body simultaneously. Human submarines designed specifically to withstand deep ocean pressure have imploded at similar depths, and the sperm whale goes there to eat lunch. The physiology required to survive this is extraordinary at every level. The whale's rib cage is flexible, designed to compress completely, rather than resist the pressure. As the whale descends, its lungs collapse entirely, forcing oxygen and nitrogen into the trachea, where it is stored safely away from the bloodstream. This prevents nitrogen from dissolving into the blood and forming bubbles on ascent, the condition that kills human divers, called the bends. The whale's blood and muscle tissue carry unusually high concentrations of myoglobin, a protein that stores oxygen directly in the cells. Its heart rate drops dramatically during a dive, slowing to conserve what little oxygen remains in circulation. A typical foraging dive lasts between 45 and 60 minutes. Dives of 90 minutes are well documented. After surfacing, the whale breathes rapidly at the surface for 8 to 10 minutes before diving again. It does this repeatedly, all day, every day of its life. But what are the whales going down there for? The answer is giant squid. The whale's primary prey lives in the midnight zone of the ocean, where no sunlight reaches, and pressure would destroy anything not built specifically for it. The evidence is written on the whale's own body. Adult sperm whales are covered in circular sucker scars from squid tentacles, marks left by animals fighting for their lives in the darkness at the bottom of the world. Some of the squid beaks recovered from sperm whale stomachs belong to animals estimated at over 10 meters in length. The whale wins these fights, almost always. But the battlefield is a place that exists beyond the edge of everything the surface world can reach. But, as extreme as their hunting behavior is, what sperm whales do at the surface may be even stranger. The animal that sleeps standing up. In 2008, a research vessel in the Pacific came across something that had never been documented before. A group of sperm whales floating motionless just below the surface, perfectly vertical, heads pointing upward, completely unresponsive to the approaching boat. The vessel drifted into the group before the crew realized what they were looking at. One of the whales was physically bumped by the hull. The entire group woke up simultaneously and dove. They were sleeping. Sperm whales sleep vertically, not horizontally like most marine mammals, not on the sea floor, perfectly upright, drifting just beneath the surface in tight groups, completely unconscious. The behavior is called logging because, from above, the motionless bodies look like floating logs. Sleep bouts last only 10 to 15 minutes at a time. The whale then wakes up breathes, and either resumes the dive cycle or drifts back into another brief sleep. Total daily sleep amounts to roughly 7% of their time. And like many marine mammals, they likely sleep with only one hemisphere of the brain at a time, keeping the other half active enough to manage breathing and monitor the environment. The vertical posture appears to be connected to the spermaceti organ. The organ sits at the top of the head. When the whale floats upright, the organ is positioned at the highest point of the body, closest to the surface. Some researchers believe the vertical sleep posture may allow the whale to passively regulate the organ's temperature during rest, using the cooler surface air to slowly firm the wax without any muscular effort. Even asleep, the body is still working. And once researchers started studying these groups closely, they realized they were not looking at random gatherings of animals at all. The society. In the deep sperm whale society is matriarchal, multi-generational, and built entirely around females. Adult females live in family units of roughly 7 to 12 animals. Grandmothers, mothers, daughters, aunts, cousins, and the occasional unrelated friend. These units are stable across decades. The females never leave. They are born into their unit, grow up in it, raise their own calves in it, and die in it. Males leave in their early teens and spend the next decade and a half wandering alone toward colder and colder waters before returning briefly to mate. The females babysit each other's calves. When a mother dives, she cannot take her calf with her. The dive is too deep, too long, and too dangerous for a young animal. So the calf stays near the surface with another adult female from the unit standing watch. Different females take turns. The responsibility rotates, and the calf is never left alone. In 2024, biologist Hal Whitehead of Dalhousie University published research in the journal Royal Society Open Science, confirming something even more remarkable. Sperm whales live inside massive clan systems containing up to 20,000 individuals. 7 such clans have been identified in the Pacific Ocean alone. Each clan has its own vocal dialect, its own behavioral patterns, its own way of moving through the ocean, distinct hunting techniques, and its own rules about who it socializes with. 2 clans can share the same stretch of ocean for years and never interact. They recognize each other. The dialect difference is immediately apparent, and they simply do not mix. The closest parallel in nature, Whitehead wrote, is the ethno-linguistic groups of human societies. These behaviors are learned, not inherited. The calf learns its clan's dialect from its mother and the other females in the unit. It learns hunting techniques from watching adults. It learns which other units belong to the same clan by listening to how they click. When that knowledge is disrupted, when a family unit is broken up by hunting or by the death of key elders, it does not fully recover. The cultural knowledge carried by the older females disappears with them. This makes what happened during the whaling era far more devastating than simple population loss. Because humans were not just killing animals moving through the ocean, they were wiping out entire cultures. The hunt for liquid gold. For over 2 centuries, sperm whales were hunted for the spermaceti oil stored inside their massive heads. It burned cleaner than other fuels. That entire economies were built around killing whales. Ships from Nantucket and New Bedford crossed oceans searching for the angled blow of a sperm whale surfacing in the distance. The hunts were brutal. Harpooned whales dragged boats for miles across open water in what whalers called Nantucket sleigh rides before finally collapsing from exhaustion. The whales learned quickly what ships meant. Pods fled from sails on the horizon. Mothers shielded calves. On August 20th, 1821, finally fought back. A massive sperm whale rammed the whale ship Essex hard enough to sink it in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Survivors later described the attack as deliberate. The whale struck once, circled back, then hit the ship again with even greater force. 20 men escaped into small boats. Only 8 survived the next 90 days at sea. Their story later inspired the renowned classic novel Moby Dick by Herman Melville. And in all honesty, the whale had good reason to attack. By 1820, the whaling industry had already spent generations slaughtering sperm whales across every major ocean. Nearly 1 million were killed between the 18th and 20th centuries. Entire clan systems collapsed. Elder females carrying migration routes, dialects, and social knowledge disappeared permanently. The damage was not only biological, it was cultural. The whales could not outbreed the rate at which they were being killed. This is what made the whaling era so catastrophic and so difficult to recover from. Sperm whales are among the slowest reproducing mammals on Earth. Females don't reach sexual maturity until around 9 years old. Pregnancies last 15 months. A female produces a single calf every 5 to 7 years. You cannot sustain a population reproducing that slowly when you are killing thousands of individuals every year. The 1986 International Whaling Moratorium came just in time to prevent complete extinction. Populations have partially recovered since. There are an estimated 300,000 to 450,000 sperm whales alive today, compared to perhaps 1 million or more before industrial hunting began. While a population of several 100,000 sperm whales sounds like a success story for global conservation, their true value isn't just in their numbers, it's how they keep entire ecosystems alive. Ecosystem inside one. Creature. The sperm whale doesn't just live in the ocean, it runs the ocean. And to understand how, you just need to follow it through a single dive. The whale descends through the sunlit zone, past the twilight layer, into the midnight zone where no light has ever penetrated. It hunts, it feeds, it metabolizes food that has been living in the deep water for decades. Food that contains iron, nitrogen, and other nutrients locked far below the surface. Then it rises, and when it reaches the surface, it releases waste material rich in exactly the elements that the ocean's surface layer needs the most. Those nutrients feed phytoplankton, the microscopic organisms that drift in the sunlit upper layer of every ocean on Earth, the base of the entire marine food chain, and the source of approximately half of all the oxygen in Earth's atmosphere. A single sperm whale, by cycling nutrients from the deep to the surface on every dive, stimulates enough phytoplankton growth to capture carbon equivalent to thousands of trees. Not over a lifetime, per year. A functioning pod of sperm whales is running a carbon capture and oxygen production operation that no human technology has even come close to matching. Ecologists call it the whale pump. For millions of years, before the whaling industry removed 1 million of these animals from the ocean in 2 centuries, the pump ran at full pressure across every major ocean basin on Earth. Its absence is measurable. The ocean's capacity to absorb carbon has been reduced by the loss of whale populations in ways scientists are still calculating. The near extinction of the sperm whale was not just a conservation tragedy. It was a climate event. And the whale continues feeding the ocean even after death. When a sperm whale dies, its body sinks into the deep sea, carrying an enormous amount of energy into one of the most food-starved environments on Earth. Scientists call this a whale fall. Sharks, hagfish, worms, crustaceans, and bacteria arrive in stages, creating entire ecosystems around the carcass. A single whale fall can support life for nearly a century. Some species found there exist nowhere else on Earth. So when sperm whale populations collapsed during the whaling era, the damage spread far beyond the surface. Deep-sea ecosystems that had relied on whale falls for millions of years suddenly began losing one of their main sources of energy. Whaling did not just remove an animal from the surface of the sea. It turned off the lights in a world we didn't even know existed. And somehow, despite centuries of hunting and studying, humans are only now beginning to understand what these whales might actually be saying. Project CETI. Founded in 2020, the Cetacean Translation Initiative has deployed underwater microphones, AI-equipped drones, and suction cup biologgers around the Caribbean island of Dominica, where a resident population of sperm whales lives year-round. The project has accumulated thousands of hours of recorded sperm whale conversation. It has identified 156 distinct codas and their parts. It is building a machine learning model trained specifically on sperm whale acoustic data to identify patterns, context, and potentially meaning. Researchers have also found what they describe as a rubato quality in sperm whale communication, subtle variations in timing and rhythm that change the meaning of a sequence, the way tone of voice changes the meaning of a sentence in human speech. The project's lead researcher, David Gruber, described it simply, "We have been hearing these animals for decades. We are only now building the tools sophisticated enough to begin listening to them." And maybe that is the strangest part of all. After centuries beside them, we are only beginning to understand them. The sperm whale is a civilization operating parallel to ours, in a medium we cannot survive, using a language we cannot comprehend at all. It has existed for millions of years, and we nearly destroyed it in 2 centuries for lamp oil. We were not just hunting an animal, we were silencing entire cultures. So, which one of these facts about the sperm whales surprised you the most? Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more amazing stories like this one.